Today's news.
Israeli embassy staffers killed in D.C.
The suspect chanted, "Free, free Palestine."
House passes Republican spending plan.
The president's so-called big beautiful bill got a big boost.
Pentagon accepts luxury plane from Qatar.
They're giving the United States Air Force a jet.
Good morning. I'm Steve Kathan with the CBS World News Roundup. A man shouts "Free Palestine" before police take him away after the fatal shooting of two Israeli embassy staffers in Washington, D.C.
I was walking by, a guy came up and looked like a gun. I couldn't tell what it was, but I heard it afterwards, a shot, and he shot this young couple.
CBS's Scott McFarland reports the deadly attack happened outside the Capitol Jewish Museum.
Law enforcement says prior to the attack, the suspect was observed pacing back and forth outside the museum.
He approached a group of 4 people, produced a handgun, and opened fire. After the shooting, the suspect then entered the museum and was detained by event security.
This morning, the Israeli Foreign Ministry named the two victims as Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Milgram, embassy staff workers in Washington.
The young man purchased a ring this week with the intention of proposing to his girlfriend next week in Jerusalem.
The suspect, who's now in custody, was identified by police as 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez from Chicago. The FBI says it's investigating ties to potential terrorism and his motivation. Witnesses say Rodriguez was with them inside the museum after the shooting before they realized who he was.
So about 10 minutes later, when the cops actually came in, he said, "I did this." He said, "Sir, I'm unarmed." He put his hands up, he grabbed the red kufiyeh out of his pocket and started the Free Palestine chant.
Also in Washington, CBS's Caitlin Huey-Burns says early this morning the House of Representatives passed President Trump's spending bill.
This is the culmination of very intense negotiations all week with various members of the Republican conference. Now, what this bill does, it cuts billions in federal spending to Medicaid, food stamps, and energy subsidies. It also increases spending, though, on defense and immigration. And this is the key. It extends, makes permanent Trump's tax cuts that he passed during his first term, and also delivers on a key campaign promise to eliminate tax on tips and overtime pay. Still has to go through the Senate, and lawmakers, Republicans over there, have said they're not going to support this bill as it currently stands.
A much talked about luxury jet from Qatar has now been accepted by the U.S.
In the Oval Office, President Trump sharply chastised a reporter for asking about
A jet that was given to the United States Air Force, which is a very nice thing.
The Pentagon says the Boeing 747 was accepted in accordance with all federal rules and regulations, but it is unclear where the money, $1 billion or more, would come from to retrofit the plane, and lawmakers are already asking questions. Allison Keyes, CBS News, Washington.
Well, CBS's Weijia Jiang has more on yesterday's tense Oval Office meeting where President Trump accused South Africa's president of allowing a genocide against white farmers, a claim not supported by evidence.
South African President Cyril Ramaphosa denied unsubstantiated claims of genocide in his country. President Trump dove into a prepared response.
Turn the lights down.
Armed with unsourced videos and news articles, Trump accused Ramaphosa's government of seizing land and allowing white South African farmers to be persecuted.
You're taking people's land. We acknowledge them. They're being executed, and they happen to be white.
I'm Deborah Pacha in Johannesburg. President Trump has ground all U.S. refugee admissions to a halt except for one group, the white Afrikaner ethnic minority that once led South Africa's brutal apartheid regime. Claims of a white genocide are often circulated by right-wing groups but are simply not true, said Afrikaner academic Pete Kirkhoff.
There's no sign of it never has been. In fact, whites are economically the strongest group.
More than half of all farming land is owned by white South Africans, who make up just 7% of the population. And while the country has a staggeringly high crime rate, it is not racially motivated.
There's word a small plane crashed into San Diego's Murphy Canyon neighborhood early this morning, setting about 15 homes on fire and forcing evacuations along several blocks. It's not known if there were any injuries. It's 5 minutes after the hour.